Hey there, YouTube land. Big Dave here. So, I'm just doing a little update here. We're kind of opening things up a little bit in New Jersey with this coronavirus, but there's no real gigs. Some people are working here and there outside, and I know I'll be with a group of musicians. We're taping a TV slot for the Arts Center, which is near me in New Jersey. We're taping in August. I think the end of August. I don't know when they're going to show it. But it'll be mostly like Brazilian type jazz and some swing kind of stuff. But anyway, that'll be in the future. But that's the next thing that's on the agenda is live tape. There's no audience. It's just a live taping for the Arts Center and the TV station in the next town over, which is kind of a big town. It serves a lot of people. So that'll be fun. We'll see. Anyway, so I have a question from several people, but the last one was Paul over in Denmark, and I'm saying hello. And I hope everything is good over there in Denmark, because we've certainly had our problems here. And as you can see, I haven't shaved right now, this week. But I do have a haircut. That's not too bad, right? A lot of people don't have haircuts. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about vibrato, because this is what the question was. And I had several people send me questions, and like I said, the last one was from Denmark, from Paul. And I'm not going to wet this reed. This reed's completely dry, and it's all crooked, right? So let's just put it together. I'm not going to wet it. I'm not going to do anything. And let's just see. See, it makes a sound. All right. Makes a weird sound. What I suggest you do to practice, think about vibrato. There's a couple of different things. Flute players use a diaphragm, what they call diaphragm vibrato. The vibrato comes from your breathing. Right? That's what I'm doing right now. And you can actually see my whole body's moving, right? Because I'm using this heavy breath vibrato from down there, opposed to using a lip and a jaw type vibrato where the jaw is actually moving very slightly, or it could be moving a lot. That's in here. So you can do all kinds of weird things with this. I'm sure it sounds weird too. My cat just ran away. Now you might be saying, well, why do I have this noisy thing on here without using the instrument? Because this is what's really going to teach you what you need to do. Not sitting with the instrument. That's my opinion. My opinion, I don't know what it's worth. But anyway. And you can see I'm going way up and way down, right? Or less. Slower. All right. And all that. I'm controlling that with this jaw here. I mean, as you're moving your jaw, this is a very small movement, but as you use it on the mouthpiece, you can hear, if you're squeezing a lot, you're going to hear a big variance in the pitch. If you're only moving just slightly, you're going to hear much less, or the note is going to kind of almost drop out because you'll no longer have the right oral cavity to support that sound. See? Slower. All that stuff is going to help you control what you want to do with the saxophone. And as far as, there's a video. You can find it. You can search it. It's the violinist. It's Perlman about. He talks about vibrato. It's a very good video. It's short. It's only like 3 minutes. And he talks about the speed and the wobble. And in the saxophone, it's the same thing. Now, whether you have a fast vibrato and it's small, or a fast vibrato and it's fast and wild, or a narrow vibrato and it's slow. And like John Coltrane, if you listen to some of the John Coltrane albums, it almost sounds sometimes like he's not using any kind of vibrato. But when you listen more carefully, he definitely is. It's just very subtle. It's very small. And then later on, he started using more of an intense kind of vibrato. Coleman Hawkins, if you listen to that kind of stuff, that's got its own vibe to it, And then you can go through the list of classical players with all their different vibratos. But some of the more current, like Grover Washington, I always felt he was using some diaphragm vibrato along with his regular vibrato. It had more of a kind of a speaking quality to it, And I don't think he was the only one, because like Ronnie Laws, now Ronnie Laws and Hubert Laws. The Hubert Laws was the flutist. Ronnie Laws was the saxophonist, and they all have a very expressive voice. Joe Farrell, if you listen to that, that's a different kind of a thing. Johnny Griffin, a big subtone vibrato way down the end of the horn. And I heard him live a couple times, and his low end subtone vibrato, of course, he's playing way more on the end of the mouthpiece. So if you're just playing the mouthpiece and you start to pull it out, it starts to go away. But if you have it on the horn, you can actually hold the sound out as you're getting closer to the edge. You can hold it out. Right now with just the mouthpiece, it goes away. But if you have it on the horn and you do that, that whole area there, you can still make sound. And that's where your subtoning is, past that where I'm making my sound, right? See? Once I'm past that that place on here, which is almost where the curve stops, okay? And it becomes flat, right? Once you get past there, where here the sound goes away, you can still keep the sound going on the horn itself. But if you just practice with the mouthpiece, there's so many things you can learn with just practicing with the mouthpiece and finding out. If you're squeezing too much, you're going to get really high pitches. Try to aim for a lower pitch. But try to aim for lower pitches. Those high pitches, those squeezing, all that tension and biting and squeezing and all that stuff, and it just kills your sound. You might have to push your mouthpiece in just a little bit if you're playing with less pressure, all that pressure. And I see this all the time. I mean, I don't really want to say anything about anybody else and what they're doing, because everybody does stuff differently, right? But if you're squeezing and make this high center of pitch, you're really working against yourself. You are. You're just working against your whole thing, your own process. You're making it more difficult for you to play. A lower center of pitch is the way to go. Okay, I don't care. I'll argue with anybody about this. They can come and sit in front of me, and I'll be glad to discuss it with them. I don't care who it is. Doesn't matter to me. Lower center of pitch. It's deeper. It has more of a voice to it. This is not a good thing. Okay, it's got all this stuff in it. All right, it's not a good thing. Okay, so what we're talking about, vibrato. This is what you want to do. And two ways you can practice vibrato: measured and unmeasured. Measured vibrato, you put the metronome on and you practice wobbles rhythmically. Unmeasured is you just practice wobbles to go along with your phrasing in the music, however you want to do it. It's free. It's an open, it's freedom. You express it the way you want. You can vary your vibrato. You can have a faster vibrato and you can have a slower vibrato. At another time, I'll make another video with different styles. But like back in the 1920s, they used a much faster vibrato. And later on with more, like when you got into more of the commercial kind of stuff, in the 70s and that kind of stuff, it was a little different. It was a wider, more like a hip kind of vibrato. And then all those jazz guys, Stan Getz had his own identity of vibrato, it was a more, sometimes a faster kind of intense vibrato. Phil Woods had his thing, and Cannonball Adderley. I mean, you could just go on and on. Wayne Shorter. You only have to hear a couple notes and they identify right away who these people are because that's their style and the vibrato is built into the sound. I'll also tell you that if somebody says to you that you have to use a certain kind of vibrato and all this, and there's, all these rules. I never saw so many rules. Like I hear all these rules. I had a student not that long ago. I don't teach students anymore. I haven't taught students in like, I don't know how long. But I had a student who was preparing for college, and he was doing this thing, and he went to this thing, and they were telling him, something about, he started taking lessons at the workshop, and they're telling him about, the speed and that what kind of vibrato he has to have, and this and that and all this. It's a lot of, baloney stuff, because in a violin, when you play the violin, the vibrato, that's your expression. And if you listen to Itzhak Perlman, now there's somebody who is world renowned, one of the greatest violinists ever living, walking the earth, right? And his opinion to me matters on the vibrato and what you do. Every style of music is different. You're playing Baroque music, you play classical music, romantic music. You're playing 20s swing jazz, you're playing mainstream commercial jazz, you're playing free jazz, whatever you're doing, right? You're playing symphonic music and you have to match with other instruments. If you're matching your instrument with a trombone or a baritone horn and they're not using any vibrato and you're using a big wide wobbly vibrato, it doesn't fit. It's not the right thing for the gig. So you have to be aware of what other people are doing and be sensitive to listening and hearing and and all that kind of stuff. Likewise, if you're playing something that's more contemporary and you're using like a 1920s style vibrato, it really doesn't fit. It's really not the right kind of thing, and I'm not talking about rules really here. I'm just saying like styles, and you should be able to use all those different styles and learn them. So listen to all the different kinds of music from the 1920s up to what people are doing now, and free music and classical music and Baroque music. Baroque violins back in those days played with a straight tone, and supposedly, I mean, I wasn't alive in the 1600s, but from what most of the theory people will tell you, it was a straight kind of a tone. It didn't have a big vibrato or many times any vibrato. It was to be free of vibrato, and it's notated that way in some of the Baroque music. Now the Baroque flutes, I don't know. It's the same thing. I'm not an expert on Baroque, but there are rules, and Bach had rules. And there's a great book by Pablo Casals. I think it's called Pablo Casals, The Rules of Music, something like that. Here I'm talking about rules again. There's so many rules. So here, you practice with your mouthpiece, make the dogs and cats crazy. And this is going to teach you a lot of stuff just practicing with this mouthpiece. Finding intervals, finding how tight you're squeezing, or how, you don't want to be loose and floppy and all no support either. That's not good. But you don't want to be tight and squeezing and everything's tight and squeezing and making tension and tightening all this up. That doesn't work either. Well, anyway, thank you for subscribing. And I'm still looking for a coffee sponsor. Um, I'm looking forward to this TV taping in New Jersey here on the, I think it's going to be the 27th of August. We'll see. Not sure. But it'll be interesting. Considering I haven't really been playing the horns inside and I've been building carpentry stuff. So I look at the horn every once in a while and I wave at it and go, yeah, I'm going to get to you. And I just don't pick it up because, I don't know. You'd think now I have all this time I would be practicing every day, but that's not the case. I'm building a bathroom and I'm building wooden shelves. I just fixed the snowblower. I'm doing everything, and I haven't really been practicing all that much of anything. So now this has given me some initiative. I got to take the horn out and make sure it works. It's just how it is, you know. We get distracted with things. All right. Anyway, have a good day, and I hope everybody's staying well. And I'm not going to comment on anything controversial, but I do wear my mask. That I'll tell you. If I go out, I'm wearing my mask. But what you do is all your business, but I'm wearing my mask. Okay. Catch you later. Bye-bye.